This video is going to be a look at the impact that Rashod Bateman had in the Ravens' Week 8 win over the Arizona Cardinals on the road. I thought he looked very quick and decisive and abrupt in his routes, especially in the catches and the sweep that he made for an 18-yard gain. Once again, just not a lot of opportunities from a target standpoint, but this is supposed to be a spread offense where multiple players are used and we're not relying on one receiver to get 10, 12 targets. So that's part of the game. That's part of the way this offense is going to roll. He does have 14 catches on 20 targets in 2023. Clearly, we would like to see more involvement there and more opportunities. I think 11 yards per catch, 0 touchdowns. He's got the drop against the Steelers in Week 5 that was clearly disappointing. 6 first downs. I thought he was involved in some real critical plays in the Ravens' win over the Cardinals that really swung the momentum in the Ravens' direction, and I'm going to show those to you. Additionally, I'm going to go at the end of this video into an explanation about why I think the sweep play worked so well. I'm not going to bog you down with it in the beginning. If you're not interested in it in depth and my attempt to be detailed explanation of that sweep play and why it does and doesn't work with certain players in motion, then you can tune out after we talk about Rashod Bateman's sweep and the ensuing score that puts the Ravens up big in the fourth quarter. I think we could really look back on this time period right now where Bateman looks good but isn't getting a lot of opportunities as markers that indicate there's more to come. Meaning, I think we could see a day in the coming weeks when he plays extremely well, 5-6 catches on 7 targets, 120 yards and a touchdown, and we say, where did this come from? Well, if you looked back, all he needed was opportunities because I think he's playing pretty well. And we'll also talk about the penalty that was announced in the stadium and on the broadcast on him that clearly is not. All right, so this is first possession. He's part of the read. He's up at the top of the screen. He's part of the read. This is a play that I talked about in a video Monday night. I think Lamar's got to get the ball out to Mark Andrews sooner, but Bateman's the first part of the read, which is a good thing. It ends up being a brilliant play by Lamar, an example of his ability to make plays out of what appears to be nothing, even though the design of the play is that either Andrews out in the flats or Rashod Bateman on the curl is the target. And you can see that Andrews is wide open, but I'm glad that Lamar is looking at Bateman as a potential target. He's an outside turn on the curl. This route has worked against the Cardinals multiple times, particularly JSN, Seattle, 2 weeks ago. Bateman is, for whatever reason, turning outside. There's really not much opportunity to get him the football here. I mean, maybe you throw it to this inside part. It's relatively well covered by the corner, if you ask me. Give Bateman a chance maybe, but Lamar makes something out of, what some people would classify as nothing. 9-yard gain to Gus. Still first possession. This is the amazing comeback to the football and catch. A 29-yard gain. Ronnie Stanley's getting kind of pushed back into Lamar's lap, trying to develop a vertical here. It's severely underthrown because Lamar's got Stanley, like I said, back into his lap, of disrupting his throwing motion. Brilliant play coming back to the ball. Clearly could have been an interception because of how underthrown it is in terms of Bateman having some separation down the field. Lamar doesn't have a clean pocket to throw from, so he's not able to get as much into it. But Bateman comes back, steals it from the guy. I don't know about you, but my heart sank when I saw this one in the air and the broadcast caught up to it finally because it looked like it was going to be an interception. I didn't realize who it was, but Bateman's kind of long, even though I think he only listed at like 6'1". He looks like a 6'3" guy to me. And when I saw him come back to the ball, I was like, who is that? The only other guy I thought it could be was Aguilar because of the length. But you can see that Lamar's got a clean throwing platform for an instant here. And up in the top left of the screen, you can see Bateman's feet still making his cut to get vertical on that DB. And by the time he tries to throw, he's off balance. It's really a ridiculous job of getting the throw off and giving Bateman a chance to make a play. And he made it. So, good for him. And I'm glad that Lamar trusted him on 2 of these plays on the first possession to kind of stick with him on that read too long, on the one where Lamar scrambled out and got it to Gus, and then give Bateman an opportunity to go make a play. And he did here against an Arizona secondary that I don't think is an extremely high-level secondary, but still great play by him. What does it do? It leads to a touchdown. I mean, if that ball's intercepted, we don't get these points. It leads to this kick throw that we talked about in the video on Monday, and multiple people have illustrated on Twitter. But by the way, Bateman's not on the field here. I guess that's just going to be part of the deal sometimes. It definitely seems like OBJ is on the field when we're down there inside the 20. He's drawn enough defensive pass interference penalties for me to say it's been productive in that regard. It's a mesh concept. You got Aguilar underneath, Bateman coming over here. Potentially, Andrews is going to keep bringing this route over here, but he snaps it back to this side. The DB 34, I'm not sure what he's doing running in front of Andrews. I guess maybe he knew the route. Stays in front of Andrews. Andrews ends up sitting it down. So we get 7 points out of it. Credit Bateman, if you ask me, for the play to retain possession of the ball. All right, this is fast forwarding now, fourth quarter. The Ravens lead 21-7. This is what's announced as a penalty on Bateman, and you can clearly see that Ricard is on the line and Bateman is off. It's called on Kevin Zeitler. If you go look at the game stats on NFL.com, you can see the penalty is listed on Zeitler, and we are clearly downfield with two offensive linemen. This is Ricard downfield. He's cool to be downfield. This is no way, shape, or form a penalty on Bateman. It was originally announced as a penalty on him. It's clearly not. Lamar chooses to take the one-on-one to Aguilar. Interesting here to me that Cardinals are, I almost said St. Louis, the Cardinals are blitzing the OLB from the Twins on that out motion. Again, I've talked about this in the reaction video. They seem to be timing their blitzes off of our motion. I'm interested to see if other teams do the same thing and kind of give Lamar those late looks that are basically designed to give him pause trying to go through the progression and confuse him, if you will. All right, very next play. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 plays later, 2nd and 8, same possession, fourth quarter again. Ravens up 21-7. Bateman's up top of the screen. It's a mesh concept. He's running a speed out. The mesh is between Flowers and Ricard. I think there's an opportunity to get Andrews the football here over the middle. We're focusing on Bateman. You know, is he open? Yes. Lamar's not looking there because he's not part of the read. It's just a little speed out. Andrews, I think, is going to sit this thing down, and I don't have the end zone angle to show you, so I can't tell if this D lineman is necessarily in the window. Lamar's right-handed. It looks like he possibly could be. Talking about this guy here, right here, who's locked up with Zeitler. Andrews is going to clear this out. The idea behind mesh is you get, one underneath drag, a second underneath drag. Once those two things clear out, Andrews is, sitting there in the middle of the field. That's the progression. It's 1, 2, 3. If you're not going to throw it to the running back or not going to look to the speed out up to the top of the screen, ends up going down as a sack. Leads to this play. I think this is extremely important. We get a field goal out of this, put us up 24-7. Early fourth quarter, it's a 5-man rush by Arizona, playing man-free, and Lamar throws this thing out there to Bateman, trusts him on the third down. It's a 3rd and 8. We get 6 yards out of it. We don't convert. We get a field goal. It puts Justin Tucker in better position for the 48-yarder. If this is an incomplete pass, and this ball's thrown behind Bateman. If this ball's thrown in phase out in front of him, it's probably a first down. Bateman's probably got another 3, 4, 5 yards out of it because he's got the DB, Starlin Thomas, a beat to the inside. So it's an example of a third example, I think, of Lamar, A, trusting him, and B, giving Rashod Bateman the opportunity to make the play, and he made it. This is important. We only won by 7 points. We needed every point to remain comfortable there at the end, to where even if, unfortunately, the Cardinals did recover a second onside kick, which they did not, we're still up by 7 with the opportunity to maintain control of the game. Like I said, that was able to get us closer for this field goal to make it 24-7. Of course, we know Arizona's offense goes right downfield, scores, and gets the 2-point conversion to make it 24-15. I think the call of the game is coming up offensively. This is the Gus drive where he gets 4 consecutive carries. This is the 4th of which, unfortunately, we're very predictable here in this moment because of the formation. I talked about this in a video Monday night that not many people checked out, but it's a trip set. Lamar and the running back on the midline closed to the backside. This is like 80% run to this side, whether it's counter option out of the pistol, whether it's offset tailback and a give to him, or in this case, outside zone stretch, which had been really effective, but Kazire White knew the play. I mean, he understands the play. He's attacking downhill. People blame Ronnie Stanley, blame our coach for being predictable. And that's the 5th time we've made that play call in the game from the exact same formation. So I don't lay anything on the hands of the players when you're that predictable, and you're basically giving away your intentions pre-snap. 4th play in a row that we ran the football with Gus. He had been successful, and that creates a 2nd and 13. This is the call of the game for me. I don't think it can be overstated. It's 24-15 at this point, 2nd and 13. If we don't get many yards here or we throw an incomplete pass, we're looking at 3rd and 13, and Arizona can possibly get another score. And they clearly scored 3 times on our defense in the 4th quarter. Who's to say they wouldn't have scored if they get the ball after forcing a punt here? It's a sweep to Bateman. Beautiful design. You've got Ricard. I wish Ricard was on the backside of this which you'll see in a moment when I talk about other sweeps this season he is. I wish he was on the backside and this was Likely or Andrews or someone. It's a key breaker, so he's stepping down, and Zaven Collins is stepping down with him. It's QB power read, basically. Gus is leading out to the edge. Bateman has not run this one time this year. Heck, he hasn't run this one time at all since we've been running the fast sweep tagged with the QB power read. Goes for 18 yards. Huge play, if you ask me. Especially we get 15 tacked on the end of it. I applaud Monken, and this is kind of what we are right now offensively. A really poor play call on the 1st and 10, I think, followed by an amazing play call. So this is what we're getting right now. This is who we are. You can see that Lamar is reading the DN, Zaven Collins. Look at his face mask looking right at him. And so Bateman and all the other receivers must be, doing this drill in practice repeatedly for them to trust him to do it in this big situation. I think you've got real evidence that Lamar and the coaching staff trust Rashod Bateman. I think he made big plays that led to points, or gave us the opportunity to go get points. That sets up this 3rd and 7. OBJ is going to draw the DPI up here at the top of the screen. Bateman's down on the downside. Lamar clearly is looking for the matchup with OBJ on the outside, and OBJ wins. This is a beautiful throw by Lamar. Like this thing is really well put. It's a pass interference on 33 because he's not turning looking for the ball. OBJ wants his first touchdown. We all do. Lamar clearly does too. I think if we're not going to go to that, then late in this progression on the snag smash, this is one of the few times I've seen the tight end open on the smash route in terms of, getting past the depth of the second level. Now, you could say, well, this guy saw the ball thrown. That's why he's breaking on Bateman. That is not true. He's breaking on the route. Andrews is open, but Lamar made the decision to go to OBJ, and I'm fine with it because it's a great throw and gave him an opportunity to catch the football. We're unable to come up with it because of the DPI. Gus punches it in. Nonetheless, one play later puts us up 31-15. We needed these plays by Rashod Bateman. We did. And I'm trying to sell to you or illustrate to you that Lamar and Monken clearly trust him. Arizona scored twice in the final 3 minutes. Had the onside kick to potentially get the ball. Again, I think these were incredibly important plays. I'm going to show you each of them individually one more time. The 29-yard catch on the first possession, he's up at the top. Lamar has dealing with a teammate, Ronnie Stanley, right into his lap as he's throwing the football, so it's clearly underthrown. An amazing catch by Bateman. That'll be on his highlight reel if you ask me. I expect him to have more of them. Fourth quarter, the 3rd and 8, he's up at the top of the screen, double slant to Aguilar. Lamar's got Aguilar as well, but he doesn't go to it. And look, Aguilar's been his guy on 3rd downs a lot this year. Lamar doesn't go to him, and Aguilar's wide open. You don't get more open than that. But he goes to Bateman. Ball's thrown a little bit behind him. You'd like it to be, about 2.5 yards out in front from where it ended up being. And then this sweep play. And then we're going to, if you're not interested in a discussion, my attempt to be real detailed about the sweep and why it does and doesn't work certain times and why defenses do and don't react to it in particular ways. That's coming up next. I'm going to show other sweeps from 2023 and I think one from 2022. Bateman hasn't done this at all. I mean, I've got the data in our database, and so I can just go do a search by play type, run, and then do a search by play name or concept name, and just search for fast motion, sweep. Bateman ain't in there once with the give, with the read, the QB power read. So this is a gutsy call by Monken. Again, I thought the play call before that was horrible, but this one was amazing. What's one of the things he's doing when he's calling these sweeps? He's doing it out of personnel groupings that forced the base defense on the field. This is the last drive against the Bengals. We needed this. We needed first downs here. We've given up points in the fourth quarter of the season, going back to last year. We got a great defense, but we've given up points when people decide to just go throw the ball. This is a QB power read sweep to Duve. I think Duve could hit this a little harder, hit this a little more full speed. Conceptually, though, we're keeping people's base defense on the field. And the Bengals are notoriously a team that's not going to rotate a safety down on motion. They just don't want to do that. If anything, they'll walk an inside linebacker out to run him out of there. They've been doing that since 2021 when they came to Baltimore and beat us in week 7. So it's a great play call against their defense because we've got the nickel off the field and we're doing it against their base defense. Same exact play, same exact personnel grouping, same exact side. Looks like a read. Mara B reading that guy right there. I like the read. He just sits. He's not going to make the play on Duve and then steps down a little late after I paused it. I didn't realize he was going to do that. So it's a good play call. It's a good concept. There's times, however, where we've been too predictable. This is a little disingenuous for me to show this play because this is late in the game. I think it's our 12th possession. We're already up 28-3. So this play is not an attempt to say Zay Flowers can't run this concept and be successful. That's not true. But what I'm saying is there are times where people understand we're trying to get the football to Zay Flowers because we try to get it to him so much. Again, this is a disingenuous inclusion by me, I think, because it's 12th possession, we're up so big, and so JOK just blitzes to sell out for the run. I will say to you that we need more plays where we use the same look, the same sweep motion, the running back leads to the sweep side, and then we go play action to backside guys. Maybe not on the 12th possession when we're up 28-3 against a badass Browns defense, but hopefully you get the point. There's also times where I think we misread it. This is Zay against the Colts, no rotation at all, and he's motioning to the side of the back. The back is here. It's Gus. He's going to lead. We got Likely out as a lead blocker. To me, that's a give. That's a give. But when you get the end zone angle and you look at what the DN did, this is where predictability comes into play, and this is the entire point of what I'm saying. When we run the motion with Zay Flowers or with Duve, people know that this concept is coming if it meets certain conditions. Are you motioning to the side of the back? What's the personnel grouping? In this case, we've got 2 tight ends on the field and 2 receivers, so it's 12 personnel. We're trying to get a big body out there to block in space. They know what play is coming. That's the entire point of why I continue to talk about formations and certain conditions pre-snap. So watch what this DN does. Should this be a give read by Lamar? Sure. But watch the DN. He steps upfield, knows the play is coming, and then juts back inside. He understands the concept that's coming at him, and therefore he's able to give Lamar the read he wants to give him and control the reaction by the offense. Why? Because we're predictable. Getting back to the point about Rashod Bateman, we hadn't done that yet with Bateman ever. So when you got that motion by Bateman, there was no commensurate reaction by the defense because they didn't think that play was coming. That's the entire point of being less focused on Zay Flowers. Am I glad we drafted Zay Flowers? Man, absolutely. The dude's a great ball player. He'll probably be in the Ring of Honor one day. He's got that much talent. To me, being this predictable at the NFL level is shocking. The other side of that coin is when you do what we did Sunday, you make yourself less predictable. You put the defense in a position where they don't, quote, know what's coming. This is just a poor play call that illustrates my point of how often we're doing this with Zay Flowers. It's a 3rd and 9 against the Colts, I think in overtime, and it's just not an NFL level call. I remember criticizing it at the time and using that exact phrase. One difference with the sweep, and I tried to explain this in a preview last week. I want to illustrate this point. Look at Gus and the motion by Zay Flowers. This is never, ever, 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 ever going to be sweep, at least not for the Baltimore Ravens. Some spread coaches will tell you that they run the sweep opposite the tailback. Cool. The Ravens don't. They didn't under Greg Roman. They don't under Todd Monken. What do you not get? You don't get any flying out of there downhill by a DB, no safety rotation, and someone else coming downhill because they know it's not sweep. Now, Gus turns it into a 5 or 6 yard gain. We execute offensively at the offensive line position anyway, but that's my point. I'm trying to show some of you guys is that formations matter. Even going back to 2022, you got 21 personnel, so we're running the sweep to the exact same side, meaning what's the conditions that are met? The back is over there, and you've got a tight end and a fullback that are going to lead block. It's a touchdown to Duve, 2022 on the road against the Bucs. And this is why I think it was such a brilliant call. I've spent enough time this week criticizing Todd Monken for some of the play calls. This is why this one is a brilliant call. You got OBJ down here, a receiver, not a tight end. We brought Ricard over, gave him a false key, a down block, to put this guy in conflict. So maybe we're growing away from being so predictable with the play call in terms of where we run QB power read, to which side and with which player. Do I think Rashod Bateman should be used on it next week? No, that's the whole point. Use Nelson Aguilar or use someone else. Make the defense not know the play call just by certain conditions being met. Hopefully, I've done a good job of describing the conditions to you. I told you there was going to be a little bit of a digression or a rant at the end, so forgive me. But I'm big on that. I'm big on being less predictable with your play calls. And you're an NFL coach. You get paid to do that, and you have plenty of time to do that, and you have staff to help you. I thought this was an example of us doing it the right way. That 2nd and 13 call was huge. Allowed us to go down there and get a touchdown after the DPI on the pass to OBJ. I think Rashod Bateman's playing well. And I spent the last 6 minutes talking about topics other than him, but at least I warned you. So if you didn't like that, please let me know in the comment section. I think he's playing well. I think, we're all looking for the breakout game. We're all looking for 5 catches, 120, and a touchdown. Maybe we don't get too many of those. Maybe we get a bunch of 3 or 4 catches, 40, 50, 60 yards because of the nature of the offense. It looks like to me we're becoming more trusting of him. I tried to illustrate that to you or sell you on it. Let me know if you agree or disagree. It also looks like we're more comfortable using him in different manners. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. Let me know if you agree that Bateman played well on Sunday, even though the numbers, 2 catches for 34 yards, 1 rush for 18 yards, certainly doesn't look like a huge contribution, but I thought we needed every one of them. Appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look at Rashod Bateman, please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.